Hello YouTube, I am back. My name is Alexis Murphy, and if you've been following my story, I am sharing the journey of yet another pregnancy. I am, let's see how many weeks I am. So, y'all, sometimes I forget how many weeks I am, like just ready to get to the point to have the baby, but I'm going to be patient with myself. So I'm going to get into how many weeks I am, and then I'm going to get into my topic, what I'm going to talk about today. So I am 34 weeks. I'm actually 34 weeks and 4 days. The baby is about the size of a melon, something like that. And it just shows your body, your baby. The app that I use is, I think it's called Baby Center. So if you want to get an app to sort of keep track of your birth, download the Baby Center and plug in your information, and voila. And that, it will help you sort of keep track. Because I'm going to be honest, sometimes I forget. I have so much going on. I just be like, oh, how many weeks am I? 32? 30? I am 34. So, yes. Oh, and also, we took pictures. I uploaded a couple of little TikTok video on my shorts. So we are done with pictures because we do this every year. Every year we have a baby. I love taking pictures, but we're done with outfits, getting outfits and pictures and all that. Now it's praying time, and it's trusting God time, and let the baby grow and see what comes of it. So I'm excited about that. So today, what we're going to be talking about for 34 weeks, like I told y'all in my last video, when I shared my heart about how I felt about this pregnancy, I got over it quickly. I did. I had to. I had no choice. I shared my little testimony of how I felt about this pregnancy. But in that video, I explained, I'm not going to be doing the typical videos like what the body is doing in the pregnancy, home birth, and I feel like I done covered all that. If you go on my playlist, I've covered a lot of topics concerning having a baby at home, and what positions you can get in to give birth. I even shared about how you can turn your baby, positions that you can get in. I also shared about the books that I was reading about home birth. I even talked about, I think one of the first videos I discussed is about fear and overcoming your fears and emotions, especially if you're new to doing home birth. I covered a lot of stuff in those videos, and even though I covered all that, as y'all know, I didn't end up having Zephaniah at home. I had him at a hospital. I talked about backup plans. I talked about all the stuff concerning home birth if you're trying to go that journey. This one, I was praying. I was like, what else can I talk about besides home birth? Because there's so much information out there, and it is, ever since COVID, home birth is becoming a trend. Women are waking up, and some are getting midwives, and some are just reading books, and they're having their babies at home. I see it a lot on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. I see it a lot. I see a trend. And I see more black women that are waking up and saying, hey, you know what? I can do this at home. And I see people are being woke, and that's a great thing. But I also still see a lot of people that, I'm not going to say woke, I'm going to say they're just not informed, and they don't want to get informed. So this is why I decided to devote these last weeks to the history of childbirth, infertility, abortion, the history of these topics, and how did we get to a place where we are now. So I love doing research. I love reading books. And I just really felt led to I wanted to do a history on these topics. How did midwives come about? How did doulas come about? What is their history? How did we go from having a baby at home to the hospital? How did we go from that a woman, it is natural that a woman breastfeed her baby, to you are ashamed if you feed your baby in public? I wanted to know, how did we get here? How did we end up on birth control? Those are the things that I want to cover these couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and put my disclaimer up. The topic that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about infertility. I am going to talk about birth control and the truth behind it. I'm going to share my research and what I've learned. And I am going to talk about abortion. So I'm going ahead and telling you now, I'm putting my disclaimer up. This is for educational purposes only. Whatever decision you make, that's your choice, not mine. I'm just here giving you information that can help you, that can make you make a informed decision before just going into something and then you don't know all the information, and something tragically happens and it's like, oops, I didn't know all this. So I am not a doctor. I'm giving you info. If you are comfortable with taking your birth control, if you're comfortable doing whatever, if you're comfortable having your birth, that is on you. I'm just giving you the information, and at the end, of course, I am a believer. So I'm gonna, at the end of this discussion, I am gonna talk about how God feel about all this. So take it as you go, but please don't come on my page and put your hate post on. Whatever you do is your choice. I'm just sharing my experience, and I want to help women. I want to help women make a decision. If you choose to have your baby at the hospital, no judgment, but I do feel like women need to know all the information. So let's begin. This is a little controversial topic, but I just really feel the need that women need to know this stuff before they make these decisions. So let's begin. So I'm going to be talking about the name of this topic. I am 34 weeks. So I'm going to be talking about getting pregnant, why women are having such a hard time conceiving, the history behind birth control. Also, I will be touching on abortion. So here I go. So before I get into my research and the things that I have learned, I want to tell y'all my personal experience with birth control. I grew up in a small town, and some of you probably know my story or whatever, because I wrote a book about it. But birth control in my house was a no-no. I don't remember my grandmother or my mom putting me on it. I got my cycle around the age of 14. Mine was infertile. I was, I went, not infertile, but I don't know what the word to call it, but I got a cycle every other month. But also keep in mind that I had a history of having epilepsy. So I was on a lot of pills. And the only thing I remember is taking folic acid. That's the only thing I remember, but mom sitting down having a talk with me, grandmother, we just didn't do birth control. So, and I'm grateful for that, because I'm just very grateful that I wasn't even taught to go down that road. But when I got on my own, matter of fact, when I moved here to this city in 2011, I was sort of a sinner saved by grace. I was out there doing my thing, and I just went along with the trend. I figured, hey, I am doing my thing, which was sin, and I felt like, okay, I don't want a baby, so I'm gonna try some birth. I'm just trying stuff. So I put myself on the birth control, thinking that it would balance out my my cycles, because I was getting cycles every other month and I was being sexually active. And so I tried the pill. And I tell you, I got off I got off that pill so fast, because once I started trying it, and I put myself on the birth control pill. Once I started trying it, I explained. I took a couple of them, and I didn't feel right. I was just bleeding out, and I saw colors in my eyesight, and it sort of reminded me of. Now, keep in mind, I had been seizure free going on some years, so I didn't have no triggers. But when I took the birth control pill, I was like, I started seeing colors, and that's something I seen when I had epilepsy. And I'm like, I said, okay, God, I'm getting off of this. You know, whatever. I'm not gonna try to make nothing happen. I'm gonna trust you. And I told the facility that I went to, I told them that, you know, I'm not taking this no more. It's doing something to my body. I wasn't even on it, and I didn't even take it right. I didn't even, you know, you have to take it at the same time every month. I didn't even take it right. I was taking it, missing it, forgetting it, and when I saw the side effects of it, I was like, I'm not taking this. So that's my story about birth control. Thankfully, I am so grateful that I didn't have that in my life. That later on, I'm not saying that I was perfect. Like I told you, I was out there doing my thing, but God still had grace and mercy on me for me to get married. And once I got married, I haven't stopped having children. So I am grateful for his blessings, and I am so grateful. Now that I look back at it now, I'm like, God, thank you, because having children is not a problem for me, and I am so grateful for that. Even the pregnancies, I don't have any health problems, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, and it is my desire that women experience the same thing the way it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna get into this topic. So that's my story. Here's a couple of notes I took. So the documentary that I watch, and with each topic I am going watching documentaries, reading, researching books and whatever. But the documentary that I watch is called The Business of Birth Control. The same lady that, I can't think of her name, the same lady that created the business behind Being Born. I think she was, let me Google her name real quick so I can know it. But she created a series. She created a series of The Business of. Let's see what her name is. I can't think of her name. I'm telling y'all, I got the pregnancy brain. But Ricky Lake and another lady called Abby Epstein or whatever, they got together and created this The Business of, and they created a series of documents. And so they decided to dive into birth control, and so they got a documentary out there called The Business of Birth Control. And if you want to check it out, it's on Amazon Prime. It's there to watch. So it was really informative for me. So that's what I've been watching. And I did a little, as you see, I got my computer up, so I did a little research and on different stuff. So some of the notes that I took. So I went to look up on this website, and it's called betternutrition.com/the birth control pill scam. And I think I got it pulled up right here. And this lady, her name is Catherine. She's a nutritional therapist, and her passion is education, and she wanted to help improve the nutrition through strategic eating, not dieting without expensive supplements. So she touched on birth control. So my thing has always been in the back of my mind after seeing different stuff is, can birth control causes infertility? And I went on her website and read, and she was talking about when she was 18, how the doctors tell you You need this pill, and get on the pill, and you get on it for about 10, 12 years, and oh my gosh, and then when you're ready to have children, you can't. It's hard. And so there you go. You have to turn to the doctor where they're putting shots or injections to help your body keep the egg in you, or they're implanting basically sperm in you, and with the touch of medicine to help you get pregnant. And so she began to talk about the truth about birth control that nobody talks about. And she was saying that, do you feel like you're being scammed by the birth control pill? She said, I sure do. Thinking back to my teens, I really remember going to the doctor, hearing that birth control was the answer to my problems. It was routine. Made an appointment, tell the doctor the symptoms of hormonal imbalance, and get handed a birth control RX, some free samples, along with a $200 office visit and $15 copay. And I'm gonna say this as well: the advertising lately. If you see commercials about medicine, because these pharmaceutical industries have got sued so much, do you notice the change in the commercials where they're telling you, I love imitating them, I'm silly, but they'll say something like, do you know you can get on the pill and it won't hurt your body? And then you got the woman in the thing, I got my body back, get yours back today with the pill. And then while she's jumping up and down in slow motion and chilling with her friends, and you hear the little disclaimer, this pill cause cancer, side effects, blah 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 blah, and blah 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 blah. Don't take this if you're pregnant, may become pregnant. And I'm sitting there looking at the commercials like, good gracious, there's a lot of side effects. And then after they then gave a disclaimer, it's like, I got my pill, go get your, and I'm like, oh my God, I think this industry think we stupid. I'm sitting there like, wow. But now, because back then, I'll say in the 90s and 80s, when they did advertise commercials with medication, you didn't know the side effects. So I think now there's so many lawsuits that came in that they have to put their disclaimer up there. So if you choose to take it, you know the side effects. So I've seen that in the commercials. It's just crazy. But back to this topic, she was talking about how the birth control thing causes, she was talking about the birth control pill and how the doctors tell you can take it for acne, you can take it for PMS, irregular cycles, and you don't want to get pregnant, you can take the pill. So the doctors don't go into details with you about the side effects. They push the pill, in which a lot of people don't know. Doctors get paid to push pills. And they do. They get paid to push medicine on you. And we have to remember, it's a practice. There is no cure. And these pills cause a whole nother side effects. And we're not told that. So she went on to talk about, the risk, and girls, be quiet. Okay, good night. Good night. All right, my kiddos. But anyway, so she gave a list of the downsides of birth control. It's drug-induced liver injuries, doesn't address the root cause of symptoms. It's a 10 to 30% increase of risk of breast cancer. Pill-induced nutrition deficiencies. It's just a lot of stuff that happens to the woman when she chooses to take the birth control pill. And we're not told this when we go in the doctor's office. And then I hear people say, well, all pills have side effects. Yeah, they do, but don't you think you should know them? So every woman should know what she's going to take before she takes it. And so as I was reading this article, then you go down to the comments, and I was reading some of the stories, and y'all, my heart just breaks for some of these women. Some of them were saying that they were on the pill since they was 18, and now they're 50 something years old, can't have no children, had to go through cancer and get their body back, and it was just really sad. And like I thought, most women become infertile when you're on that pill for a long amount of time, because what's happening is, if you're staying on that pill, the pill itself actually thins your uterus, the lining of it, and that's where the egg, it goes through the fallopian tube and how the process works when you're trying to have a baby. And it once it goes through that tube and it hits the uterus, the lining of the uterus, it's supposed to implant, and that's where the baby is developed. So what the birth control pill is doing is thinning the lining of the uterus, and so when that egg is made and it goes to the area where it's supposed to be so the baby can grow, it dies. And I seen a sermon where this preacher was saying that is a silent abortion. And it is. It is. It's preventing, and if you were to get pregnant, it's eliminating, because your uterus is thin and it can't hold an implant and grow a baby. So those are things that we have to think about before we decide to get on birth control. So birth control causes infertility, cancer, and just all kinds of things. And then what I liked it on the documentary about the truth about the business of birth control was our bodies is beautifully and wonderfully made. Okay, if we don't have any sicknesses that haven't passed on from our parents and we're perfectly healthy, praise God. But our bodies, God did an amazing thing when He created the human body. Our bodies never fight off germs. It don't need extra medicines and stuff like that. It does things on its own. So when they broke down when you take the pill, what you're doing is, we as women need to it's healthy for us to ovulate, because it also helps with other things like healthy bones, and it's just a lot of other things that ovulating does. It ain't just for pregnancy. So when the birth control pill is taken, what happens is, just like it sends a signal to the brain, like everything we do, and it signals the body to shut your hormones down. And it's shutting down your estrogen and the progesterone that we have. And so when the body is not operating and functioning correctly, what happens? Depression, stress is going to send signals back to your brain. Your brain is going to be like, you're not functioning right, so it's time to stress out. So many women are suffering from depression. They're stressed out, and then they're even causing death. I seen this on the documentary. There was 3 women where their parents told the story, and they got blood clots. That's one of the killers. Blood clots, and they're just passing out. And they actually, one of the girls that passed away, they showed her lungs, and she was on they call it the NuvaRing, because there's different methods of birth control when you can get them planted in your arm, and you can get it planted, you can get a shot in your hip, and all these things you're putting in your body. And it took those young ladies' lives, and I was just like, wow, it's sad. It's very, very sad. So we're not truly informed. We're just thinking about, well, I don't want to have a baby right now. So I'm going to get on this pill, and you know, when I'm ready to have a child, I'll have a child. But me and my husband, we actually know a girl when we was living in an apartment. Sam actually worked with the girl, but she was on birth control pill for a long time, for a while. And then all of a sudden, bless her heart, she was so young, she died. She did get to have a baby, but she's not here to raise her child. And, you know, society has dumbed us down so much until we don't think to look back at what causes this. There's a cause and effect for everything. So there was another lady that we knew. She's living, but she told us out of her own mouth that, hey, I stayed on the birth control pill so long, now I can't have children. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really, really sad. And then when you're ready, you can't. It's harder. And then do you see the cycle, the capitalism, the economy part that plays in? So you're given this pill, and then you're coming back to the doctor because of your side effects, and your doctor saying, oh, you're fine, keep taking your pill. So that's money getting the pill, money for you coming back for side effects, and then on down the line, you've been taking it so long, you got more sicknesses like cancer, and then you may have to go through chemo. That costs money. And then you may get into a situation to where you can't have children. You got married and you're ready, and you can't even have children. So now you have to, and those shots cost money. They cost a lot of money. So do you see how the system continues to capitalize on our health? And we need to be informed about these things. So yeah, so it's just really, really, really sad. All right, so my next topic that I'm going to talk about is where did the idea of Planned Parenthood come from? Who came up with this idea that the woman needs to be on a birth control pill? And most of you probably have already heard of her. Her name is Margaret Sanger. I'm going to check my camera for 1 second. See if I have enough time. This may be a part 2 video, because I got a lot to say. Let's see where I'm at. Oh, yeah, it's pretty get ready to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and stop it here, because it's at 27, and it's going to stop at 30. So I'm going to stop it.